Hi and welcome. So today you have joined the workshop and or you're listening to it or viewing it from one of the multiple links that I'm going to send out to everybody so that you can be um, informed about what's coming up with the Website Foundations course. So you should see on your screen right now, can I build a website? This is a question that I often get asked when people find out that I build websites for a living. So let's jump in and take a look at uh, and address the question, can I build a website? So first, introductions. My name is Lucy, and I'm the face and the creator behind Lucy Lynn Creative and the Website Foundations course. I come to you with over 15 years experience in web development, i.e., building websites for the internet. Prior to that, I was a software developer since the 1980s. Yes, I am dating myself. My middle son likes to tell people I'm the OG of IT, information technology. I've specialized in WordPress as my platform of choice for reasons that we'll cover in this workshop. Typically, Typically, I create one and done workshops where I serve one client at a time. In 2024, I attended an online course, and it was then that I realized that there were women business owners that needed a website, but they were unsure how to get started or were overwhelmed by the technology. In that course, the instructor pointed out that building a website with WordPress could be a course by itself. And that's when the light bulb came on. I could be that person to teach them how. Thus, I realized my true purpose and calling was to serve fellow women entrepreneurs by sharing my knowledge to help them establish their online presence and create a space that's on brand for their business and that they have full control and ownership without tech overwhelm, decision fatigue, or stress. So today's agenda. During our time together, you're going to learn whether you need a website and if you're ready to build a website. You'll review the available platforms that are out there. We'll also look at the four fundamental elements you need to define before you start the process of building a website, how to confidently move forward and take the next steps, and how to embrace the process of learning something new. So, who is this workshop and Website Foundations course for? If any of the following apply to you, you're overwhelmed by tech and are unsure where to begin. You're experiencing decision fatigue, creating analysis paralysis, want or need to create a website that actually helps your business grow. And you're ready to take your business from social media to a permanent home that a website can provide. And you have a website, but it's not giving you the results that you need, or it's outdated and needs a refresh. So if any of these apply to you, you're in the right place. So the goal of today's workshop is to help you confidently answer the question, can I build a website? By giving you the foundational clarity, guidance, and tools that you'll need to make that decision without overwhelm. Let's simplify the process and set you up for success, one step at a time. Today, you will gain clarity on whether you need a website or should wait, clarity with a simple framework to guide your decision making, confidence that yes, you can build a site if you have the right guidance and support, and a clear direction. So to follow along, you'll need to download the Website Readiness Workshop. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that link in it should have been in your email, but I'll also put it in the chat. Okay, so that you can grab it. All right. So the readiness workshop, the website readiness worksheet is just a step-by-step plan, and we'll cover each of the fundamental areas for you to complete. And if you can complete the readiness worksheet, then you are in a place in your business where you do need a website. So the big question is not can you build a website, it's do you need a website? So let's break it down. Um, Building a website is not a gift or a talent, it's a skill. And when you have the right guide, you can do it. There are so many websites that were built with good intention, but when there's no clear direction, plan, or goal, it just results in a website that's sitting out there on the internet doing nothing except collecting dust. I call this digital dust, which is why it's important to first determine if you need a website. Reasons you might need a website. You want to grow beyond social media. Social media is rented space. You can be banned, your account can be hacked, or worse, hijacked. In addition, you lack control over the algorithm or how the content is presented. With a website, you have a place for your audience to always find you, even if social media is experiencing an outage, which we've seen that in the last couple of years. Social media channels, suddenly they're down. Next is you're ready to be more professional. You need a home for your services, your art, your designs, or you have a shop. You're often asked in person or online, do you have a website? To which you either say, yes, but I'm embarrassed. I don't want anybody to see it, or no, I don't have a website. You want a place where your ideal audience can find you, where you have ownership of your online presence. Let's face it, social media is rented space. You do not own it. You want to provide your audience with a way to get to know you on a more personal level. When you have a website, you can have things like an About Me page, and you can feature other areas of interest on your website so that they really get to know you on a more, like I said, personal level. You need a central location to house your work, especially if you're a designer or a writer or someone in a creative industry. You want someplace where you can send people where they can look at the body of your work and not just one piece at a time through individual social media posts. A website is a calling card or an online resume, is what I like to tell people. You want, perhaps you want to have full control and ownership of your content and online presence. Let's be clear. If you have a website that's on a third party platform, even if it's a peer-to-peer platform, which we'll talk about in a minute, you don't own that content and you don't own that customer data. They do. So that's an important thing to remember. If you want full control and ownership of your content and online presence, you really need to have a self-hosted website. So we're going to talk about the difference between self-hosted and not self-hosted. So hold that thought. A website will provide 24/7 marketing. It's unlike social media. A website is always working. A website is sociable, is searchable. Social media is not. Social media is not typically considered professional. A website is. And again, it's 100% within your control. So, how about some reasons you might not need a website? Well, perhaps you're still validating your idea or business. You've not cultivated it out. You're not really sure if it's a good idea yet. You don't have clear offers. If you don't have a clear offer like a newsletter that you're going to send out or shopping or anything like that, then maybe it's not the option for you. You're not ready to invest the time or the energy. Building a website, even though you'll hear it online, people saying, oh, you can build a website in an hour or build it in a day. There are platforms that advertise that. And I'm of the opinion you kind of get what you pay for. However time you invest, that's what you're going to get out the other end. So you have to be in a place where you're ready to give it the time and the energy that it needs. You're unclear about your purpose and goals for your business, and you're unsure who your ideal client or audience is. Websites are not a one and done. They are ongoing, living digital documents that need your attention on a regular basis. And when I say regular basis, I tell my clients you really need to look at your website at least once a month. It's so crazy when a client will call me and say, hey, Lucy, my website's down. And I'll go, well, how long has it been down? And they're like, I don't know. And they haven't looked at their website in months. So it's important that at least on a monthly basis, you just go out and take a quick little look. I encourage my students to go out every morning, just like a morning business routine. First thing you do is you log on and then you go make sure your website's up. In addition, we've all heard the advertisements, like I said, that you can build a website in under an hour. A good website is not built in an hour. It takes time and planning to create a site that will support your business goals. It is an investment. So, the foundation of any website are these four core decisions. And this is the first thing in the course that I teach, is understanding these four key things for your website. First is your goal. What do you want your website to accomplish? Perhaps you want to build a newsletter email list. Maybe you want to be able to send people to be able to book appointments with you. Maybe you need an online business card. So when you're networking out at meetings and stuff, you can just say, here's my website address. Maybe you need a digital storefront. So you have to figure out what the goal is of your website before you can do anything else. Next is the purpose. How is your website going to serve others? And you'll notice a commonality through these four core things. It's about your audience, not so much about you. It's mostly about your audience. So, how does your website serve others? Will it have educational material? Will it have resources? Will it have product for sale? Will it provide insight like therapy or, personal experiences? Will it have training? So those are just some of the purposes. A vision. How do you see your website serving your business and serving your clients, but serving your business? Will it build your client list? Will it expand your ability to bring in licensing? Will it increase your enrollment in your courses or in your programs? Will it increase your booking and appointments? And last but not least, and probably the most important thing, is who is your ideal client? Who will your website serve? Who are they? And some key things to think about that. What is their age range? What is their gender? What is their interest? Where are they located? So these are just some of the basic things that you'll want to identify in identifying your ideal client. Next, goals. What do you want your website to do? I think this is very important. Goals tell you what direction to take your website. Maybe you want to grow an email list. You can't grow an email list through social media. It just is not, it's not doable. Maybe it's you want to provide exclusive content to nurture and take care of your clients. Perhaps you want to attract and book clients. So you'll have the ability to clearly communicate offers and make it easy for them to inquire about your services. Maybe you want to sell products or services online. This is going to, maybe these products and services could be physical goods, digital downloads, workshops, creative services. And then there's maybe you need to streamline your business. That's a goal so that you can answer common questions. If you're in social media, there's something called mini chats that when people ask you a question, it'll automatically send them, in your DMs, it'll send them a link and all that kind of stuff. I like having an FAQ page. And then when clients ask me questions, I can send them directly to that FAQ in my website. Um, and then and I just have that one link. I'm not answering the same question over and over again. And it's a central repository for all that kind of stuff. So it streamlines your business. Maybe you want to collect testimonials. Again, streamlining your business. Perhaps you want to create a home base for your brand. There's only so much you can do to your social media channel to brand it. You can change the profile picture. You might be able to put a header at the top of your social media page, but there really is nowhere to make it cohesively look like your brand. And if you don't have a brand yet, that's something else that we cover in the course. That's part of the first three modules is plan and design. Maybe you want to showcase your work. You want a central location for your portfolio. Perhaps you're a surface pattern designer, a photographer, maybe you're a potter, maybe you are a graphic designer and you need to put all your case studies so that people can see that you do or you are a professional in your industry. Establishing credibility. I think a website makes you credible. And just hands down, because it reflects your branding, it's polished, it's professional. I do want to share with you on that note. So here is, I'm going to bring this over so you can see. So you should see a window. So here's a website that this is a website that used to be, it's still live, but you can see it's pretty outdated. It doesn't look real professional. This is their new revised website. So you can see this is a website that was built in the early 2000s, and this is the brand one, new one that's going live this week. So it does make a difference in keeping your branding. Maybe you want to be found online. With a website, you can establish you can easily be found through search engine optimization, in browsers and that kind of thing. And you have control over that with a tool that I teach you within the course so that you can show up for the key things that you want to show up for in search. And you're discovered organically in search without having to pay for ads or boosting. Without goals, your website is just a digital brochure and will become another website collecting digital dust. With goals, it is a business tool. That's the key. Your website is a business tool. So, purpose. Why does your business exist? How will it serve others? And will your website support that purpose? So, example, my website. My purpose is to help women entrepreneurs establish a web presence utilizing the WordPress platform, to educate, coach, and provide support while eliminating the tech overwhelm, the stress, and the decision fatigue of having a website. And some of the things, how will I serve others? Through a membership, through a course, by selling digital products, the ability to book coaching, attracting ideal clients based on the color scheme. Like I'm attracting women. So I use a little bit of pink and soft green and blues in my website, and we'll see that shortly. A website will provide you with 24/7 marketing, and that's how it will support your overall purpose because it's always out there. When your purpose is clear, your messaging and tone will feel aligned and intentional. And this helps to establish your branding, tone, and message. So, purpose. So, we've covered goals, purpose, and now let's talk about vision. What is the bigger picture for your business? Where do you see your business in a year, 3 years, 5 years? A clear vision ensures your website doesn't serve where your business is now, but where it's going. And that's what I encourage in the first 3 modules of the course. I help you dream. Hey, tell me what your business is going to look like in a year. What do you see that you need to offer that you will be offering in a year or 3 years or 5 years so that your business can grow with you? And then I say, what are the things in the work in the course? We only do those things that we see in our business right now, but we lay down the foundation to allow for the growth that will happen in a year, 3 years, 5 years. Your vision should be measurable as well. So you need to say, in 3 years, I expect to have an online shop and I'm going to be doing XYZ sales. In 3 years, I will have gained so many new subscribers to my newsletter. Or I've launched a course that I'm promoting twice a year. So you have measurable goals within your vision. So who is the last one is your ideal client? And these are the questions you need to ask. Who is your website for? Name them, describe them. Remember earlier I mentioned age, gender, location, interest. What do they need to hear or see? Ask yourself, pretend you're your ideal client. What do they need to hear? What would you need to hear and see in order to become a client or become someone who buys from you or works with you? They view you as a so that they can see that you're knowledgeable and can be trusted. And they can relate to you because you relate to them. Now, there's some websites you'll go out to and you'll look at it and you go, yep, that's not mine, and you click away. That's called bounce. So if you, that's why it's important that when you look at a website, and that's part of what we do in Website Foundations, is we go and critique and look at other websites and we say, well, I'm drawn to this. And then you ask yourself, well, why are you drawn to that? Is it the design? Is it the colors? Is it the fonts? Is it the content? Is it the imagery? Is it the what they're interested in? Is it because it's a pottery site? So these are some questions that you ask yourself. And then you have to ask yourself, will my ideal client relate to me? And can I relate to them? And that's part of the reason why, for example, in the Website Foundations course, it is only open to women. And in most cases, it's women 40 and older, because I recognize that is a underserved segment that is the most fearful of technology and unsure of how to get started. And that's why they're my target audience or my ideal client. They are creative or service-based women entrepreneur, typically over 40, building a business they truly care about, but feel overwhelmed by the tech side of creating a website. They are my people. They are passionate about what they offer. They know they need an online presence, yet they're unsure where to start or worry that they don't have the skills to build it themselves. So your ideal client determines your content, your images, and your overall presence of your website. That's how important your ideal client is. So we really in the course, we hone down and we get to who your ideal client is before we ever start talking about tech. So we need to have, um, so instead of trying, my thing that I tell the students is I say, instead of trying to appeal to everyone, your site becomes a yes. This is exactly what I'm looking for the clients that are right for you and your business. Let me repeat that. Instead of trying to appeal to everyone, your site becomes a yes. This is exactly what I'm looking for the clients that are right for you and your business. So, with the four core decisions defined, you will know if you need a website. If you cannot define all four of them, you don't need a website yet. You need to define those. Also, with the four core decisions defined, you know what kind of website that you need. And we're going to talk about the platforms here shortly. You'll know that you'll know what kind of website you need and the platform to build it on. And you'll also know how to present your content because you'll know who your ideal audience is and what tools you'll need for your website because you've established the goals. So, for example, if you know that in a year you want to be selling prints of your art from your website, then you know that you need to have an e-commerce part incorporated on your website over the next year. You don't need it right now, but in the future, it's going to be happening. So you'll know what tools to work, what you'll need to incorporate. The four core decisions will influence the design of your website, the functionality of your website, the content of your website, and the overall flow. Really does. It's so just to give you an example, these four core principles in the Website Foundations course, when we did the first release last year, all the students got to module five, which was actually starting to break ground and build the website. And they all stopped after they finished module five or got started with module five and went back to module one and started over because it was then that they realized how important the foundation was. Um, so they, in their critiques of the course, they told me at the close of the course, you really need to drive home how important those first few modules are, Lucy. So I really try to make that very clear. You're going to spend a good amount of time in the first few modules of the course before you ever start diving into the tech. And when you have the first few modules, this stuff defined that we have here, as well as your design and your colors, everything is picked out. It's like going shopping. You figure out what colors you need. Like there's general shopping when you go into the store and you just peruse the racks. But if you go into a store knowing you need an evening gown for a special event, you don't just peruse the racks. So you know exactly what you're looking for, and it makes it faster to shop. Same things with building a website. When you have everything planned and predefined, when it's time to actually build, you're not overwhelmed because the foundation is in place. Okay. So I always like to talk about the difference between social media and websites. Social media, and this is going to sound really kind of silly. I say social media is the party in the front, and the website is the business and the business and the party. Social media is the party in the back, and the website is the business in the front. So it's kind of like go to social media, share, all that kind of stuff, but drive the traffic back to your website. So let's look at both of them. With social media, you're renting your space. You don't own it. It you don't own anything about it. It's like going to a networking event. When you walk into the networking event, you're handing out your business cards, you're shaking hands, you're making small talk, those kind of things. It's great for visibility and engagement. It's where people will discover you and get to know you and connect. It's limited formatting, just like a networking event, but a post, just like in social media, when you leave that networking event, you are, unless you gave them a business card or something like that, they kind of forget about you. It's the same thing when you put a post up on your social media. Eventually, that post gets buried and it's gone. It's free to use, but you have to pay to play. So with Facebook and Google and all the other social media platforms out there, you have ads and boost. So what happens when you own your own website? That is your office. So we have networking events and now we have an office. And we're going to drive all the traffic to our office. It's where all your decisions happen. It's where you decide what are the goals, what's the purpose, what's the vision, and who am I trying to attract. It's the professional home where your clients get clarity, they gain trust, they see you as a professional, and they see you as an expert in your field, and they take action on the website. They don't take action through social media. In fact, they said the least clicked link in social media is the bio. In like Instagram, where you say link in bio, a lot of people go, yeah, no, that's one extra step they've got to take and they don't want to do it. You control with the website, you control every aspect of your site from the branding, the content, even the search engine optimization. And it's fully customizable, unlike social media. Your content lives forever and it's easily updatable. You learn all of that within the course. It does require an investment of time. It does require an investment of finance, and it does require an investment of energy. So, so let's talk about platforms. So here are three platforms. We have Squarespace, Wix, and Shopify. So these are the really popular ones that you hear about. These are what we call third-party platforms. They host your website for you, and they provide you with templates that you can pick and choose and plug your content into. They make it here's the key about these guys is they make it really, really easy to add your content and set up your products in their platform. But when you decide you want to leave, they make it very, very difficult to pull your information off and go somewhere else. Very difficult. And I know from firsthand experiences with clients who say, okay, I'm ready for a WordPress website. And then I find out they're on one of these platforms and I go, I have to charge them a significant amount more money to pull the information off of those platforms. So let's talk about each one. Squarespace pros. It's all in one. It's stylish. They have great professional templates. They're good for service-based or portfolio sites, and they include some basic tools. Now, a lot of these do have a freemium. I call it a freemium version. And what that means is they're free up to a point. Once you sell so much or you need an extra tool, like for example, if you need e-commerce, all of a sudden you have to buy a premium plan in order to be able to sell products on your website. Now, the cons of Squarespace is it's not easy to customize. You really do have to know some tech to do customizations with them. You can pay someone on their staff to do the customizations for you, but again, you have to pay for that service. Their add-ons are limited. So when I say an add-on, like if you want to set up a shop, a store, e-commerce, for example, they have it, but you'll have to, more than likely, it's a paid for add-on. And it can get expensive. So let's talk about expensive. Right now, Squarespace is anywhere between $25 and $135 a month, depending upon what level of plan you're on and what add-ons you have. Now, that's an annual payment. That comes out to be $16 to $99 per month. In other words, if you pay for the whole year all up front, it breaks down to $16 to $99 a month. But I typically say just know that you're going to pay monthly for these services. They're not free. So let's look at Wix. Wix is the one that advertises build a website in an hour, which is kind of funny, but so it's extremely user friendly. It really is a plug and play system, and it's very fast to set up. There are plenty of templates, and they have affordable plans. Wix is $17 to $159 a month. Um, Here's the caveat. If you know the majority of your audience is going to be on mobile, be aware that their sites do not generally look good on mobile devices. And due to the design being made up of many, the way Wix is built, its separate little compartments, um, the back end can get messy. The back end being the office area where you load your content and everything can get messy. So the cons with Wix is the SEO tools are extremely basic and design can get messy. Switching templates is difficult. So if you want to change your templates, that's a little difficult to do. And there's limited scalability. So again, on Wix, you cannot have a shop. Like I know that. You cannot build a shop. So now let's talk about Shopify. This is another very popular one. This one's built for selling online. Like I said, over here on Squarespace, it's great for people who maybe have photos or portfolios and that kind of thing. Shopify is an online seller. They are very reliable e-commerce, and they with e-commerce features and an app store with lots of apps to support online sales. They're very secure, they're scalable, and they're fast. And they have easy payment tools. I have clients who have built a website that is just their about page where they collect newsletter emails, they have a blog, they have a list of their services, they even maybe have a portfolio, but they sell their products on Shopify. And that's okay to do that. And they link to their Shopify account. I usually tell my clients if you know that you're going to do e-commerce down the road, start a small Shopify account, verify or test out your sales, and then move it over to your website. That's one of the options. And we talk about that stuff in the course. The cons with Shopify, the fees. The fees, Shopify is one of the more expensive ones. It starts at $39 and can go up to $2,300 a month. A month, not a year, a month. Um, Now, it's not ideal. It's not an ideal site if you're not selling anything. If you have no products, Shopify is not for you. It has a limited blog and content features. So that's why I have clients that have a website that has a blog and all that, but then they link to a Shopify account. And then there are very limited design options. There's only so many layouts that you have available to you with Shopify. So those are some things to keep in mind with that platform. So website platform options with WordPress. Now, I'm not sure. Whenever I say WordPress to people, I get, oh, I have a WordPress site. And I'm like, okay. And when they tell me what it is, it's WordPress.com. So I'll share in my follow-up email that you'll get after we finish this workshop. I'll share a link on my website where we talk about the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. But let's look at the basic differences between them. So WordPress.com, its pros are it's easy to set up with hosting included. It's not self-hosted. In other words, you don't buy any hosting. You just go to WordPress.com and set up an account. It's kind of like Shopify and Wix. It's like the competitor um, to those services. So it's kind of like a third-party platform, but it's under the WordPress umbrella. It's secure and it's managed for you. And paid plans offer customization. You can get a free plan with WordPress.com. With a free plan, though, you have the WordPress branding on your website, which some people don't care about that, and that's fine. The thing that I like to point out about WordPress.com is if you're someone who's not sure if you're ready for a website, and you've never built a website or you don't have one or you're vetting a business idea, you might want to go over and just use WordPress.com. And I like WordPress.com to start out with because it's very easy to transfer to WordPress.org. It's like a switch that you flip and it will transfer you over to a WordPress.org type of website. Okay. So the cons with WordPress.com are its limited flexibility on the lower tiers. In other words, until you get up in the paid tiers, there's not a whole lot you can do with it. It's very, very basic. Ads appear on the free plans. I, for one, if I have a business, I do not want ads appearing on my website. And when I go to a business site and there are ads on the site, I'm clicking away. I'm not staying. I think they're a detractor. I think they're obtrusive. So, me personally, I don't like business sites with ads. Now, if you have a personal site and you have ads, by all means, have at it because you do make money when people click the ads. But on a business site, I don't think it's professional to have ads. So on the free plan, you would have ads. So I would recommend that you at least step up one tier to get away from the ads. You do have less control. They manage the update of your plugins, the update of your theme, and the update of WordPress. They have all the control. You have only control over the content that you load and the images. And you can't use most third-party themes or plugins. And what this means is they have a set bucket of themes and plugins that you can use with WordPress.com. So WordPress.com is what I call, it's like you're in it's like having an apartment in an apartment building. All these people are in the same building with you. That's a third party type of experience. And so everybody's using the same WordPress installation and the people who own the building control the heat, they control the elevators, they control all the things. The only thing that you get to do is decorate the interior of your apartment to a limited degree. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's look at WordPress.org. This is my platform of choice. The pros, it's fully creative and you have full creative and technical control. It's like you have all the power. And I just love that about this platform. There are thousands of themes and plugins to choose from. Now, in the course, I don't give you choice of thousands. I lead you step by step and I show you what's the best choices. It is excellent for SEO, blogging, and e-commerce. It scales very well. You want to add something to your website, just add it. and keep on going. You don't have to move anything. You don't have to pay more to have it. You just add it. And it's cost effective in the long run. So initially, a third party platform might be $16 a month, but take that out 5 years and how much is it? And then compare that to the cost of your hosting for 5 years and your domain. And you will find that in the long term, a self-hosted website financially is the best investment. What are the cons? It does require you to set up hosting. It's like going out and buying a piece of property and now you have to build your house on it. That's how you can equate it. It needs regular maintenance. Again, you don't want your website to become digital dust. So you make updates to it at least once a month and you go out and visit it. I recommend daily, but at least once a month you go out, make sure it's still up, make sure it's still viable. So you have to look at it regularly. And it has a slightly steeper learning curve. People tell me, oh, the learning curve. If you have the right guide, if you have someone that's giving you the step by step how to do this, then you can do it. It's kind of like learning to dance. If you want to learn to ballroom dance, you go to someone who teaches ballroom dancing. And at first you're tripping over your own feet and everything, but eventually, because they're your guide, you learn how to ballroom dance. So the same thing's true with a website, with WordPress. Now, there are a couple of other options that are out there as well, and these are called peer-to-peer. One is Etsy and Spoonflower. These are just two examples. So Etsy is home people who make things. They go out and they put their stuff out there. The pros of an Etsy is you have instant access to a built-in audience. You do. That the audience is already there. You get instant access to them. It's easy to set up and start selling almost immediately. There's no need for your own website. It's great for homemade and creative goods. The cons, seller fees on every transaction. Every time you sell something, they get a piece of the pie. And since they've come around, I've noticed just in the last couple of years, their piece of pie is getting bigger and bigger. So you have no control over the platform rules or the design, none. You're limited in branding options, again, like a header and maybe a profile picture. You're competing with similar shops on the same platform. And to me, it's not professional. Now there's Spoonflower. Pros, it's great for surface pattern design and fabric artists. There's no upfront cost to sell your designs, handles the production, printing, and shipping, and its passive income potential. Those are the pros of Spoonflower. The cons, the royalties are small. You don't get a whole lot of pay, but you get that built-in audience over on Spoonflower. There's less brand control, not much customer access, and it's not a full website. It's a hosted marketplace is what we call that. So let me show you something that one of my students did. Um, they, let's see, where is she here? Let me pull this up. Okay. So this is one of my students. This is Vicki Bedingfield. And this is her website. Notice up here she has Shop My Spoonflower. So what she's doing is she's taking advantage of the captured audience on Spoonflower because on your profile in Spoonflower, you can list your website. So she's posting all her designs so people can buy fabric or wallpaper and stuff through her Spoonflower account, but she has a website that she can drive her traffic back to. And this is one of my students. She finished this. This is her website. She had no idea what she was doing. And she has built what I would consider a very professional website. So that's Vicki Bedingfield. Okay. Let me drop that back in right there. All right. So why I build using WordPress.org? Well, WordPress is what we call a content management system. And as of this month, it powers about 44% of all websites globally. That is over 530 million websites are powered by WordPress. It is the most widely used website builder in the world. In addition, you get complete creative freedom. You design your site exactly as you want it. You get scalability. Start simple and grow as your business grows. You get ownership and control. You own your content, your site, and your customer data. Notice I said your customer data. So on some of these platforms, when people fill out contact forms, you don't get that information. They don't tell you, they'll send you the name and the contact information, but that's it. And even then, like Etsy or Spoonflower, you don't get that contact information when someone buys something through those third-party platforms, peer to peer. You have ownership and control. You own the content. Like I said, you own the content, your site, and your customer data. There are powerful tools and flexibility. There are, like I said earlier, thousands of themes and plugins to customize your site. It's cost effective in the long term. WordPress itself, the software, is free and it is supported by thousands of developers all over the world in many different languages. They have conferences every year that I go to where we talk about WordPress and how to make it better, but it will never, ever cost you a penny, WordPress, and that's what your website will be built on. Hosting is minimal. A hosting account can start off at $1 a month for your first year, and then your next year, when it renews, it might be $12 a month, significantly less than some of these third-party platforms. Then there's free tools in the form of plugins. And we talk about it in the course. We talk about freemium versus premium. Freemium is most plugins and themes offer you a free version, and then they have a pro or a premium version that you can purchase to get some extra benefits or functionality. In the course, I teach you to build the site without the premium versions. I want you to have a site that's as economical as possible and financially viable. Also, the other thing that I love about WordPress is it's great for SEO and visibility because the browsers recognize that WordPress is the forefront of what everybody's building their WordPresses on. They give preferential treatment to websites built on WordPress. All right. Let's see. Okay, common myths. So, myth number one, I'm not tech savvy enough to build a website, Lucy. You don't need to be a tech expert to build a website. With the right guidance, clear steps, user-friendly tools, anyone can do it, even if you're starting from scratch. Plus, you can always start small and grow as you learn. That's what I love about WordPress. Myth two, I need to have everything figured out before I start. Your website can and should evolve with your business. You only need clarity on your goals, your purpose, your vision, and your audience. And of course, one additional thing we'll talk about in the course, which is your offerings to get started. Waiting for perfection will just delay your growth. Myth number three, I have social media, so I don't need a website. Again, social media is great. Remember, that's the networking event. That's the party. Um, let's see where I'm at. Sorry. But you do not own it. It is your website is your digital storefront. It is your business card, it is your resume. Your website is your home base. It's a space where you fully control, where people can learn about you, connect, and take action without distractions or algorithms. Myth four, and think about it. When you're on Facebook, I do it all the time. I go out to Facebook meaning to just look at this one thing. And then before I know it, I have just scrolled an hour. But when you send someone to your website, they're coming with a purpose, and you can actually guide your audience through your website to get them to what you need from them. For example, if you want them to sign up for your newsletter, you can actually lay down the groundwork and the steps in your website to guide them to subscribing to your newsletter. A website has to be expensive to be effective. Wrong. There are affordable and even free tools available to help you launch a beautiful, functional site. The key is building with strategy, not just spending on fancy features you don't need. So, part of the course is we help you build with a strategy in mind. Myth number five, I'm too early in my business to need a website. Even a simple one-page site can help you look professional. Just one page, a landing page. It will build trust. It gives people a way to contact or support you. Your website will grow with your business. Don't wait because if you wait until you've made it, it's too late. And I think a website is the key stepping stone to making it. Myth number six, it has to be perfection. All of us have this perfection thing. So your website doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be published. I actually have clients that still have not published their websites because they're not perfect. They're sitting out there with a coming soon page to this day, and it's been over a year. And I can't convince them, just publish it. It has to be perfect. Um, a, my thing is a clear, honest, and functional website will serve your business far better than a perfect one that never launches. When you get to week 15, you will have launched your website. You can and you should refine it over time. So know that it's, like I said, it's always a um, evolving product. So, yes, you can build a website. You don't have to know it all. You just need the right support and the right guide. You can grow your site step by step. You don't have to do it all. Because a website is a living document on the internet, it is never done. And that's what I tell my students. I ingrain in them, your website is never done. You should always be making updates. It should continue to evolve and change and shift with your business. As your business changes, so should your website. So let's review. Do you need a website? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Are you ready to start planning? Can you see which platform may be best for your business? Do you feel even a little more informed and confident than when we first started this workshop? Um, so in the follow-up email that I'm going to send you this afternoon, you'll have a checklist that you can download that'll give you an idea of some checkpoints that will flow through on the course. And I will include that in the email that I send you. So let's talk about what next steps are. To me, it's reserved if you know that your business, you can check off the boxes, then you need to reserve a spot for the Website Foundations course. So let's talk about what that course is. I'm going to come over here and bring this screen up so we can see it together. So this is a page on my website. This is the course page. If you go to the website, and I'll send a link in the email, the closing email, up at the top, there's course details, and this is the course page. And just want to come down here to your website creation kit. What the course includes is 12 training modules, weekly Q&A session. All the sessions are recorded so that you can watch them at your own pace, or you can't watch ahead. I keep everybody in the same place, but if you can't attend or you can't, if I will release a module like on Tuesday, you don't have to watch it right then and there. It's a module that I release and you watch it and do the lesson or do the class. And then on Thursday, 2 days later, we have a Q&A where we talk about it and you submit questions. And I'm going to show you the community in a minute. There'll always be module checklist and supporting documents for every single module. And there's optional one-on-one coaching add-ons. And then there's also halfway point and closing. I do a critique that I ask for your how you would make the course better, how I could have make the course better, what were some shortcomings, things that will help me make the course better for the next release. And there's also a private community space. Also on this course page, if you come down here, you can actually see a layout of the plan of the course. Week 1, what that entails, week 2, week 3, and you'll see something called in week 4, an implementation week. This is so that, let's say in week 2, you have to go, you're going to be on vacation and you're going to miss week 2. It's not a big deal. We record it and you can come back and catch up and watch week 2. Each week, each module builds on the one before it. So let's see what that looks like. Um, so this is the community. And just a second, let me pull the right one. Make sure I'm in the right place. Okay, so let me just go over here to the right place. Okay. All right. So here's the community. When you log into the community, and you can get to the community from this login on my website. So you go to Loose Link Creative and you'll get a login. Now you'll also be able to access the community because I will always send you reminders, and you'll get emails regularly that a module has dropped and is available for you. So when we go look at the community itself, you'll see it looks like this. Your profile picture would be here. Any kind of notifications or messages from me will be up here. There's also notifications. You'll be told when there's a new post or something that you should look at. This is the key areas of the community and of the course. So let's look at the home page first. So in here, there'll always be at the top the Zoom link, so you can attend any of the Zooms that we do live. Here are all the modules for the course. Now, when you start the course, when the course reopens, there won't be anything in this panel. I will release a module, you'll complete it, then the next week I'll release another one. So let's look at Module 5, for example. Module 5 is Pages and Creating Your Coming Soon page. This is the first real technical one that we get into. But you'll see each of the lessons, there are multiple lessons within a module, but no lesson is more than 10 minutes long. And that's so that you can come in, do a lesson, and go away and know where you've left off. And it will keep track of where you are. And the beauty of this is it's not like you're biting off a 2-hour long lesson, 10 minute pieces. And when you add it all up, it's about, I want to say 70 minutes, 60 minutes, because that one's 2 minutes long. So 62 minutes, something like that. And then down here, I will include any kind of bonuses for that module. And then over here are attachments. So there'll be a checklist with the module, documents to support your learning of that module. And so any kind of Q&As will be tied in there too. All the Q&As, so this is what a lesson looks like right here. A module has all these individual lessons and any supporting modules or links for that module. So it's all in one place. Now, during the course, every week a module will be released except for implementation weeks. Implementation weeks, no new module. It'll be a week for you to kind of catch up, take a breath, go back and redo anything that you feel like you want to go back and look at again before the next module drops the following week. So there's 12 modules and the whole course is 15 weeks. There's a document library, which will house all of the documents that you saw as attachments along the side, will all be in the course materials. And then down here is the Q&As. So every week on Thursday, there will be a Q&A session. And the Q&A session will be based on when you go into the community hub here, you'll see that there are spaces. And in the spaces, we have your questions. And you will publish your questions here. And I go over this in detail when you sign into the hub. And these are the questions that we address during the Q&A. And if there's any time left over at the end of the Q&A, I open it up so that everybody can ask a question in the Q&A session of the Zoom call. Everything's on Zoom, by the way, with the except the Q&As are all on Zoom. So I drop a module that's pre-recorded for that week. And then the following Thursday, we have a Q&A session. And I go more into detail in that in your welcoming part of your, when you go to the member orientation tab, you'll have a welcome section that goes in and talks about all the course stuff in detail. All right, so that you can go and visit this page. I'll put a link in I will put a link in the follow-up email. Um, so let me move this out of the way. So that's an introduction to the course background. It's left. And move this. Let me move that too. All right. So we talked a little bit about the Website Foundations course. It is limited to 30 spots. That's it. Only 30 because it's important to me that I be able to have the time to give one-on-one assistance where it's needed. And 30 is the maximum that I feel like I can serve and still give you what you need in the website. So it is $9.97. So let's talk about the cost. It will never be offered at $9.97 again. The next release will be $14.97. Each release, I'm upping the price by $500. This works out to just $66 per week, less than $275 a month. It's a basic, for me, when I build a basic website as a professional developer, my base price is $3,400. So you're already saving a significant amount at the $9.97. Then after people get their website built, they'll come to me for maintenance. And when they do, a maintenance agreement is $2,800. And that's per year. So you can see with this $9.97, you'll get access to the community for 3 full months afterwards. And you can decide whether you want to stay with the community where you get continued ongoing support. I call it your insurance policy for your website. Also, this course is a business tax write-off. Yeah. Now, there's two ways you can pay in full. I do not offer a payment plan at this time. I'm still in the early stages of development. But PayPal, which is how I've paid for courses in the past, offers a 6-month no interest option, which would make this course $166 a month at $9.96. This is a method, PayPal, that I've used in the past, as I said, to take courses. So I want to thank you for joining me. Please submit any questions that you have, or I'll take you off mute and you can ask me any questions. In the follow-up email, you'll get a replay, you'll get the readiness form, you'll get the platform comparison as well as the checklist that I mentioned, and you'll get a special code to register for the workshop that will only be available to those with early registration. They're on a wait list or they've attended this class. And if you sign up for the course in the next 24 hours, you'll receive an ebook from me that's valued. It's currently costs $49 on the website. I will send it to you for free. So if you, that's it. I think I'm going to turn off the recording. Okay. I think I'm going to leave the recording and edit if I need to. So Susan, do you have any questions?
I am so technologically unsavvy that I don't have a lot of questions. Although I did want to say that I thought the discussion of the difference between the websites, not the websites, the Facebook page and your own website was eye-opening to me because I didn't realize the difference, and so that would be that's an important piece of information that I think is very useful.
Yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't need a website. I have social media." I'm like, "No, you don't. You don't own that.
That's
That's,
right.
you
And you
know,
never think of that when
mm-mm,
you, at least I haven't. Of course, I don't have a business, but when you look upon that, you think, well, I have a Facebook page. Well, you don't
mm-hmm.
have a Facebook page, is what you just told me. You have a
Yeah.
page that you're allowed to use, but if they decide they don't want to let you use it anymore, they can
Mm.
take it away and they can.
The thing about social media that people forget is you don't control the algorithm. With a website, you control the search engine optimization, so you can control to a degree how you show up and where you show up. But you
Okay.
have no control with the social media channels. They control it all. They
I think
decide
that
what
is,
gets served up.
I think that is absolutely crucial information. And I think you did a really good job explaining it. I think I'd maybe even highlighted it even more because that to me was, besides the technical issues of how you build a website, etc. I think how you
Mhm.
place a website once you get it done, or why you need a website, and then how you place it is absolutely crucial information for it to be useful.
Well, thank you, Susan. I will definitely make note of that. I will definitely make more of an emphasis. I just, it's kind of like when you teach or when you do something professionally, you just kind of take it for granted that everybody understands that.
Indeed. So that leads me to my one question. What is SOE?
SEO,
Oh, SEO. Sorry.
SEO is search engine optimization. What that means is you can put in special. So when you go to, well, I'll show you. It's easy enough to show you. If I go to, okay. So here is Google.
Yep.
Everybody's familiar with Google. And so I'm going to type in, let's type in, I don't know, uh, let's see, print on demand. So these are keywords, right? And then I
Yep.
can pick one of these other search criteria if you want. But if I just hit enter, it shows me all of these print on demand. So this is what they call a meta title. That's the title of this particular page for Printify. And this is a meta description. This is what's being served up.
Mm-hmm.
You can, with a website, you control what this says and what this says, and you control what keywords you will show up for.
Ah.
So if someone keys in, for example, woman, um, website, builder. I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there. WordPress. Those are keywords. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to go out and it's going to find what it can find. It'll show videos. And here is someone who is ranking pretty high. She has women in her title, WordPress, and website, but she's defined this is the meta title, this is the meta description. And when you click read more, it takes you right to that page in her website.
I see.
So SEO is important because you define it. If I go to, I type in that, just there is my home page. Here's my about page. Notice it says about and my
Mm-hmm.
name. And then what I do, I help women entrepreneurs build beautiful web. So this is what you control. You cannot
Okay.
control this in social media. It's like I
Okay.
said, social media is your networking event. It's where you go out and you
Right.
meet people, you hand out your business cards, you shake hands, and then when the event's over and you leave the room, they might remember you. They might still have your business card, but there's no guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with a website, that's your business. Like when you leave the networking event and you go back to your office, that's where all the business happens. You don't
Right.
do business at a networking event. So that's why it's important to have a website.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I think anyway. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of difference. First of all, knowing what SEO means, and
Hmm.
but I do think the most important thing that I got out of it is you may think you own something, but you don't,
No, you
and you
don't even
don't
own
even
your
own if
content.
you have a third party hosting your website, you still don't own it. You
Mm-mm.
need to go to a place where you own everything so that you can control everything on that page. And I
Right.
think those distinctions were important
Hmm.
because once you spend all the time building it, you want to be able to control it and
Hmm.
always know you can get a hold of it. So
Right. I think it's a crime in my mind that when people use some of these platforms, when they decide that they want to go somewhere or they've outgrown the platform, it's literally impossible to leave. Like they make it so difficult. I, Wix is terrible. They're really bad about it. I think it's because of the way the platform's built as to why it's hard to pull your content off. But you should be able to pull your content, export your content, and import it somewhere else,
Yes, I
you
agree.
know, because you own it. But they make it very difficult because they don't want you to go away.
Well, their income comes from the monthly payments.
Yes,
And if
yes.
you leave, they don't get the monthly payment. So
Right,
when they're
right,
burning you at the end, they're trying to get as much monthly income to
right.
fill that hole as they can
Recurring
before they
income.
let you. Yeah,
Recurring residual income that they have coming in. I would
that's
love, I would love for someone to do a study on how many websites on Shopify, on all these third-party platforms are digital dust. Like they literally have not been looked at in the last year.
and yet do they what happens if you stop using it and you stop paying your fee?
Well,
Then
it goes away. They'll get rid of it.
they'll
But
get rid
like,
of it.
so I have a client who reached out to me recently and she wanted to bring her website back to life.
Hmm.
And GoDaddy said they could do it for $200. And she asked me, and I was like, you need to let them do it because I can't do it for $200. I won't. I mean,
Hmm.
that's not feasible. Um, so then when she went back to GoDaddy, she ended up spending 400, and then they said, we can't guarantee you that it will work because her site had been down for over a year.
Ah,
They're going back to archives and they're going to pull that website back up. But her
ah,
website might not work with new releases of WordPress and new
I
releases of
see.
themes and plugins, like your watch, if you eventually your phone stops working because it
Yes, I've
no
heard
longer
this.
works on that operating system. Well, the same thing's
Yes.
true for websites. When they load the website, it may not work because it's so old, it won't work on the most recent versions of
I'm waiting
install.
for the French to go after that. You know, the French have now passed, or are in the process of passing legislation that if you build something assuming obsolescence,
Hmm.
you will have violated the law.
Interesting.
So I don't know how that
Interesting.
would work. Someone has raised the question as how does that work with websites and that kind of digital
Yeah.
product? Uh, of course, it's a new law, so nobody knows. But it's an interesting, and I think it's something that's been a long time coming.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how that impacts
Hmm.
websites, ownership of websites, how you can upgrade or update or remove. Uh,
Yeah.
Interesting things happening all the time in this area.
Right. Right. And now with AI, which AI is also incorporated in the course, like I truly believe that there is a niche. I just have to be patient. It's going to grow over time.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah, I
not in
think
a
so.
rush. So it'll
I'd
grow
be
slow.
interested in what the other attendee. She looked like
Debbie.
she actually had a business, or at least a
Hmm.
nonprofit. I wasn't really sure what the name of it was. It came up. It was really small. But
Yeah,
anyway,
she
she might.
does.
Do you know her at all?
Yeah, I do. Deborah Weller, I know her through social media.
Mm-hmm.
Again, networking and social
Uh-huh.
media, business on the other side.
Okay.
She is a professional storyteller and she
Ah,
teaches other people to be professional storytellers.
fictional
Um,
storytellers.
mhm. She has a website, but it's very outdated, and she knows that she needs to upgrade. She reached out to me through social media, and I told her that I was going to have a workshop, and that would probably be her best bet is to do the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did. I gave her, I I gave her some ideas of things that she could do. She's not really selling anything. She just wants a repository for educational materials for people who are storytellers,
Let
which,
me. I'm going to ask you now a question that has nothing to do with your expertise here.
okay, well, hold on, hold that thought. I'm going to end the recording
Okay.
and I want to thank you for attending and thank you for giving me your time. I appreciate it very
No
much.
problem. No problem.